morning, beloveds. It's cold in the house. This is so I'm being aggressively snuggled, and she only wants my body heat. And unfortunately, I'm wearing shorts, so we'll see how. Okay, there we go. And they're both gone. And I'm wearing shorts because I went to my physical therapist today, and the good news is I have been released from physical therapy on my knee. We appear to have fixed the knee issue, but I have not been released from the physical therapist because the knee issue probably started in my back, so we're working on that, which is why I'm wearing shorts. She needed access to my knee. Yes, I know it's like 40 degrees out there. It's the benefit of having plenty of insulation. So it is December 4th, and our title today is Divine Intelligence Directs My Faith and Makes Perfect and Plain the Way Before Me. But before we speak, hang on. Okay. Divine intelligence directs my faith and makes perfect and plain the way before me. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the world unto our glory. And that is from 1 Corinthians 2, 7-8. The person who is happy within, who rejoices within, who is illumined within, that yogi, becoming the eternal, goeth to the peace of the eternal. And that is from the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. The hidden wisdom of God is the knowledge that we are one with the divine being. This wisdom, which is hidden from us until we perceive our fundamental unity with reality, is clearly revealed when we seek the eternal in everything. The masters who have penetrated the mystery of life that so often eludes the intellect are those with the utmost simplicity, those who, with the utmost simplicity, have found direct approach to the supreme reality at the center of their own soul. The Bhagavad Gita tells us that we must become the eternal if we wish to enter into the peace of the eternal. This has an identical meaning with the saying of Jesus that we must be perfect even as God in us is perfect. This calls for the recognition of the Spirit as an indwelling presence as well as an overshadowing power. The road to self-discovery often calls for the clearing away of the underbrush of ignorance, fear, superstition, and a sense of isolation that has made us feel that we were unworthy, unholy, and lost. In the divine providence of good, salvation is unnecessary, but self-discovery is essential. We do not save that which was lost. We merely discover that which needs to be found. I know that God is within me, and I know that this divine spirit is perfect. I enter into its peace and am secure in a sense of its protection. Love will guide and intelligence will direct me. The power of the infinite will sustain and uphold, as well as direct. The unerring judgment of divine intelligence directs my faith and makes perfect and plain the way before me. Oh, that's a whole lot. That is a whole lot of words. That is a whole lot of words. Divine intelligence directs my faith and makes perfect and plain the way before me. That speaks to willingness. That speaks to willingness to be guided. That speaks to willingness to listen. That speaks to willingness to be open to an intelligence bigger than our own, that speaks to a willingness of connection and a willingness to admit that we don't know everything, but we have access to that knowing. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which God has ordained before the world unto our glory. That's one of those Bible quotes. That's the one from Corinthians that I want to see that one in context, because it doesn't make sense to me out of context. Outside of self-discovery. The person who is happy within, who rejoices within, who is illumined within, that yogi becoming the eternal, that's a capital E, by the way, goeth to the peace of the eternal. Okay. The hidden wisdom of God is the knowledge that we are one with the divine being. Well, yeah. It's like, until we are willing to recognize our source, to recognize where we come from, once you connect that, then everything else is, I'm going to say, made plain. And it comes in fits and spurts, and it's not all the time. I think that if it was all the time, we would go mad. But I think that it is those brief moments when it just hits us and we're like, oh, and that starts to inform the rest of our life. And then those moments become longer and more often, and then they kind of string together like a string of pearls. This wisdom, which is hidden from us until we perceive our fundamental unity with reality, is clearly revealed when we seek the eternal in everything. Clearly revealed when we're willing to look into the eyes of each other and ourselves and other living beings and see spirit looking back at us. When we're willing to look at a tree and see spirit in the shape of a tree. When we're willing to look at a cat. It's easy with dogs. You look at a dog and you know that spirit looking back at you. But looking at cats and birds and each other and, and houses and seeing, no, that spirit in the shape of. The masters who have penetrated the mystery of life that so often eludes the intellect because it is connected to our feeling nature. It's like we have got to have the head and the heart hand in hand to get this. You cannot leave your intellect behind, but you won't get there on intellect alone. You got to take your feelings with you. Are those who, with the utmost simplicity, have found direct approach to the supreme reality at the center of their own soul. Where do you look for God? Right there. God is all around us out here. But if you want to know God, this is where you go. And these are guideposts. The Bhagavad Gita tells us that we must become the eternal if we wish to enter into the peace of the eternal. We have to recognize the divinity at the center of our being. We have to recognize that we are godlings. We are not all of God, but we are a part of God. This has an identical meaning with the saying of Jesus that we must be perfect even as God in us is perfect. And perfect means whole. Not flawless, whole. For us to be truly whole, we have to recognize that we are one with everything and everyone. This calls for the recognition of the Spirit as an indwelling presence as well as an overshadowing power. God is here and God is here. The road to self-discovery often calls for the clearing away of the underbrush of ignorance, fear, superstition, and a sense of isolation that has made us feel that we are unworthy, unholy, or lost. Know thyself. That right there, written on the walls of the temple. Know thyself. If you want to get anywhere, do anything, that is where you start. Know thyself. Know yourself. Learn who you are. You may find out that who you are is not who you have been told you are. In fact, most likely, who you have been told you are is not who you really are. And the underbrush is all of the nonsense that culture, society, religion, even people who love you have told you that you are. That's all the underbrush. Clear it away. In the divine providence of good, salvation is unnecessary, but self-discovery is essential. We do not save that which was lost. We merely discover that which needs to be found. It's not lost. It is right there within you. It's just waiting for you to recognize it, to flower in your awareness. I know that God is within me. I know that this divine spirit is perfect. I enter into its peace and am secure in a sense of its protection. Love will guide and intelligence will direct me. The power of the infinite will sustain and uphold as well as direct. The unerring judgment of the divine intelligence directs my faith and makes perfect and plain the way before me. That last paragraph, starting with I know that God is within me, is a very powerful treatment to start your path of self-discovery, or anywhere along you on the path of self-discovery where you are. I mean, I'm fairly well along, I think. I think I have a pretty good idea of who I am. Although the fact that I said I think I know means that I have more work to do, and that's okay. Self-discovery of who you are can take your whole life. It can take your whole life because you are so much bigger than you think you are. You are so much bigger than you think you are. And the world has tried to make us small. And we are so much more than we are that we've been up to this point willing to allow ourselves to be. So yeah, our mission today is to get on the road of self-discovery. So our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to get on the road of self-discovery by clearing away the underbrush of ignorance, fear, superstition, and a sense of isolation. Everything that has made us feel unworthy, unholy, and lost. Burn it away. How do you keep a forest healthy? By occasionally burning the underbrush, so that it's not strangling the roots of who you are. And the roots of who you are run deep into the divine. That is where your power comes from. That is where your peace comes from. That's where your heart comes from. And anything and everything that you want, need, desire, it's all there. It's all there, deep in those roots, and you have access to it. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to move into the process of my day. I know this was kind of short, but I wanted to make sure I got it done this morning. And so that we have something to think about over the day. And I encourage you to step out on that road of self-discovery. Hold up what you have been told you are versus what you know you are. And get rid of anything that doesn't serve you. No matter where the information came from. Even people that love you can sometimes have a misguided idea of who you are. Most of the time, people who love you have a misguided idea of who you are, especially if they raised you. So, yeah. Do something loving for yourself. Do something kind for yourself. Do something compassionate for yourself. Dig into those roots. Allow that love of spirit to flow from that heart center out into you and let it overflow into the world. When you are a center of kindness, compassion, and caring and loving, then people are going to be drawn to you, and sometimes they're drawn to you in ways that because they need a soft place to fall until they can find that center for themselves. You get to be a port in a storm. And I saw it today, and what it said was, when I walk into a dark room, the room is no longer dark because I bring the light from within me with me. So be that light. Be that beloved child of spirit that we all are. So, all right. It looks like it's going to be a cool, crisp, beautiful day. Do something to engage your mind and your body. And if you're so minded to open your windows, although my heat kicked it on, so I won't be opening my windows, but I will open the windows of my soul and allow the breath of heaven to remind us that we live in heaven now, that we live in a state of grace always, because we are children of spirit. We are all children of spirit, and we come with that Christ consciousness already installed, and the password is love. So, yep. Reverend David will be on with you around 5 p.m. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. I have not been released to run, but I am going to go and see if there are any squirrels in the park. So, I will see you tomorrow around 9 a.m. All right, beloveds. Have a wonderful day.